Hello, it's Jane. Welcome to this restorative yoga sequence. So today you might need 2 blocks or 2 books. You might need a bolster or a really big pillow or cushion, really long and thick cushion. If you like an eye pillow, you might want to use those. And a nice long rectangular cushion and maybe a square cushion. And 2 blankets this week, so I've got a thicker one and a thinner one. So it's quite a lot of props, so if you want to stop the video and go and get them, you will be rewarded, because this is a yoga restorative sequence. I've had quite a few complaining about backs recently, and I decided to create a Blissful Backs restorative yoga sequence. So this hopefully will help to make those poorly backs a little bit better. So come with me now and let's start with our first pose, which is a supported child's pose. So take your bolster or your big thick pillow and just simply place it between the knees where you would normally come all the way down. I've propped this bolster up with a block underneath just to bring it that little bit higher. You might just like to take your pillow on the ground. And then put your head to one side. We will be swapping over halfway through, but it's more comfortable than squishing your nose into the bolster and the support beneath you. So what's different about restorative yoga? Well, in restorative yoga, the goal is deep relaxation, and all the poses are supported so we can breathe gently. And with gentle breathing and meditation, we can help to ease stress. So we swap that push for progress into the gift of grateful acceptance. And each pose, we should feel supported and liberated from any worry. So the principles for restorative yoga are to focus on opening and relaxation, not strength or flexibility. And you'll be rewarded with a state of peaceful contemplation, a sense of well-being. So let's just see how you feel at the end of this. So this supported child's pose helps to support the spine to a normal, healthy flexion. So we're not going too far down that we're putting any strain on that low back. And it gently stretches the muscles of the glutes and the quads. So I've targeted in this sequence all those muscles that can contribute to back pain when they're stiff. So we're going to gently move the spine to relieve pressure, but to maintain that mobility. Sometimes when our back's playing up, then it's natural to be stiff and to hold yourself in a protective way. That can actually make things worse because stiffness creates tension. But if any of these poses worsen your symptoms, then please, as always, stop. In fact, if there's pain anywhere, please stop. If you're happy where you are now, let's surrender into this child's pose. And if you don't feel supported enough, you could always put something else underneath your pillow or your bolster. So this is just the right size for me. And in restorative yoga, we have 3 types of poses. The head level with the heart, the head below the heart, and the head above the heart. So I'm just going to swap sides now. I'm going to turn my head just to make sure that the neck's had a gentle release on both sides. So in this one, the head is level with the heart. And there are all various ways of lowering blood pressure and reducing any symptoms of stress. So we can aim for that parasympathetic nervous system. And starting off with a pose where the head is level with the heart is a nice gentle way to move from that state of doing into that state of being, We can often, if we go too deep too quickly, then it puts even the parasympathetic nervous system into a kind of state of shock, which we don't want. We want to ease ourselves gently into this practice. So how to breathe in restorative yoga? Well, you can breathe in any way that's comfortable for you. Classic way of breathing in this restorative sequence is to get those nice smooth breaths of equal length. So is a good way to start is to inhale to a count of 4 and exhale to a count of 4, and then watch how that works for you. Some of you might need to reduce the count to 3. Some of you might want to increase the count to 5 or 6. But we just want to make sure the inhale and the exhale is of equal length. So these first few poses are quite a nice way just to get acquainted with your breath, just to work out in your own time which is the best breath for you. We're slowly going to exit this pose now. Just see if you can keep things nice and gentle. And maybe you just like to move around a little just to stretch out the legs and listen to the body, see what needs to move, but move slowly and gently. Maybe a little sway of the feet side to side. And our second pose is a simple side bend. So this is where we need 2 blankets. So we're going to have 2 blankets at the top on a rectangular fold. And then we're going to take the bolster or the pillow just underneath the first blanket. So you've got space to put your arm there. And then 2 blankets because we want to be able to support the head. Now, I'm too low with the blankets as they were. I've had to fold the blankets again just to bring the head up a little bit. This I'm starting to ease down. The head is starting to be a little bit lower than the heart now. Now choose a placement for the arms. Now it might be too intense taking it over your head like this. You might prefer just to keep the hand by the waist. You might prefer a different position with the hands. And then just see if your legs are comfortable. So just gently crossing over the knees. So we want to make sure that we've got, in my case, the right side down and that left side stacked above the body. We don't want to be rolling forward or rolling back. And we just want to get comfortable so that we can just get ready to release. So I've tried it with my hand down, I've tried it with my arm over the head, and actually prefer it this way. You might be different. It's worth investing the time into getting the position that's comfortable for you. So why do we do a side bend in a blissful back sequence? Well, the simple side bend gently stretches the obliques, the lats and the intercostal muscles, the muscles on the side of the body. And quite often these can be out of balance one side from the other. So we're just going to give them a little bit of space to help reduce tension. And all those muscles can pull on the muscles that support the low back around the hip flexors, where quite often with back problems, that's where a lot of the tightness occurs. And this simple side bend helps to decompress the spine. And with those intercostal muscles open, it invites us to deepen our breath. So let's go back to that breath of equal length now. So find the rhythm that suits you first, beginning with 4. 4, inhaling to a count of 4, exhaling to a count of 4. And then notice if you need to shorten or lengthen that count. And when you you've found a rhythm that suits you, just guide your mind's eye into those obliques, lats and intercostal muscles, all those muscles down the side body. So I like to let people decide which side they want to go to first when we do alternate sides, because I always think the body knows where it wants to go first. We do both sides, so there's no rush to do one side more than the other. So take your mind's eye into those muscles between the armpit and the hip. And watch how they respond to your breath now. We're slowly going to come up and just simply swap sides. So you've got that little gap for your arm. Find a position for the top arm. Make sure that the right side is stacked above the bottom side is stacked above the top side. I'm recording this very early in the morning. So when you've settled, let's go back to that breath. You should by now have found a rhythm in this pose. Taking your mind's eye to those muscles between the armpit and the hip. And just notice how they feel now. How does this side respond? Remember, in restorative yoga, we swap the push for progress to the gift of grateful acceptance. So what does it feel like here? What can you gratefully accept in this pose, on this side? And as always, just like with yin, if you're extremely even mildly discomforted in this pose, then move slowly. We're not after the edge like we are with yin. We are making sure that each pose makes us feel supported and liberated. And that's when we can access those deep states of relaxation, so we can restore, as the name suggests, and the body can repair itself without fear of stress, without fear of pain, without fear of discomfort. I want to promote that state of peaceful contemplation, of well-being. So I know some of you have said that even banana pose in yin is uncomfortable. So this is a happy halfway house to get to those muscles in the side body. In this we're very supported. So surrender into the support now. And enjoy your breath, a wonderful gift of breath. It's always with you, always under your control if you want to. If you don't, then it will breathe this body all on its own. And that's very supportive in its own way, knowing that you can do something if you want, and that you don't have to if you don't want to or need to. Maybe showing a little gratitude in this side now to the gift of breath. Ever so slowly, just slowly roll out of the pose onto all fours. Maybe a few cat-cows if you'd like to now. Maybe just sitting up on those heels. And we'll prepare for our next pose, which is an open twist. So taking the blanket and rolling it again, or folding it into a rectangle, not too high. We're just going to lie down so that blanket is across the shoulder blades. And we've got that little bit of support there. You might want to put a cushion between the knees. I like this rectangular cushion, but you might prefer a square one. And we're just going to take the arms above the blanket out to the side, so in a kind of T position that we do quite often in Yang Yoga. And then we're just going to simply roll the knees over to one side. So if you want to put a cushion underneath the lower leg, if it feels too much, then feel free to do that, or a blanket. And then choose a position for the head that feels supported. You might want to gaze up to the ceiling. You might want to look over into the direction of the knees. You might be able to tolerate a little more of a twist by looking into the opposite direction of the knees. Now this is supported. We don't want to feel anything that's a bit, ooh, I'll get into this soon. It should feel comfortable from the very beginning. So use your props to find that blissful position. And in this supported open twist, it will gently stretch the chest, the shoulders, the abdomen and the hip. So all our muscles are interconnected in some way. And although muscles around the hip and the lower back are the ones that can lead to back pain, they are also linked in that kinetic chain to the muscles higher up. So if any of these muscles are tight as well, they can also pull on the back. So we're gently stretching the chest, shoulders, abdomen and hip here. And in this pose, it will help to support and maintain the spine in its normal, healthy rotation. So we don't want anything extreme, anything too much. We just want to support that spine so we can keep it nice and healthy. And we can feel restored, supported, held. So maybe just becoming aware now that not only are you supported by the props, but you are supported by the ground beneath you. Times when we feel unsupported, it's nice to know that there's always some support available. So surrender to that support now. Use your next exhale to soften a little more into that support beneath you. Surrender to the support of the props. Feel held and safe, relaxed, free from the confines of worries or concerns. Focus on the opening and the relaxation. Feel that state of peace. Very slowly now, Gently bring the gaze to the ceiling, roll the knees up to center, and we'll swap sides nice and gently. So you might need adjustment, you might need more support, you might need less support here. And then choose a position for the head. Maybe gazing upwards, maybe gazing into the direction of the knees. Maybe taking the gaze over to the opposite direction of the knees. Surrender. Sink into the support beneath you, into the props you've chosen, your choice. Find that state of peaceful contemplation, contemplating the breath, smoothing out the edges of the breath till it becomes that supported rhythm that's just right for you. Maybe different on this side. Be curious. Seek that smooth, even breath. Inhale. Exhale. And with each exhale, surrender a little more into the support. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, just being here now. Maybe just noticing now those pauses in between the inhale and the exhale. No rush to move from one to the other. Just finding those still moments. Perfect peace. Now maybe finding those pauses between the exhale and the inhale. almost there. Slowly exiting the pose now. Coming onto all fours is a nice way just to move and get ready for the next pose, which is seated butterfly. So we're going to make a little stack. So we're going to take the block at the end, up on its end, and then the block on its side just to support the bolster so it doesn't collapse over. And we want it flat on its lowest setting, that block closest to us, because we're going to come into a supported butterfly. And we're going to take the soles of the feet around the outside of the block. Now, that just gives us a little bit more support. Now, if I don't have the pillow beneath me, then I'm just rounding my back too much. I don't feel supported enough. So I've got 2 cushions here that just lifts me up, and my head is above my heart in this pose. I find this is butterfly pose as you've never done it before. I struggle with butterfly pose in a normal upright butterfly pose. So I find that just taking the soles of the feet a little bit further apart thanks to the block, and just lifting and supporting my head as much as possible so that I'm not rounding my back too much, just feels blissful. In fact, I think I'm going to call this blissful butterfly pose. You might not like this, and if you don't like it like this, then feel free to find your usual butterfly pose. But trust me, you will still get the same benefits when you surrender for time in this pose. But you won't have any of those little niggles in the groin and the upper and lower back. And you'll almost be able to go to sleep. So in the supported, blissful butterfly pose, oh, I like inventing new names. In supported, blissful butterfly pose, you are gently stretching the back, the glutes and the groin, and these are often areas where the muscles are tight and tense. If you've got any back pain, they might even have caused the back pain. They might be tight as a result of the back pain, but that's where we want to gently release them. We don't want to get to the edge like we do in yin. We want to surrender slowly into that stretch. So come into that blissful state now by finding your breath rhythm here. Breathing in, breathing out, finding your rhythm. This is your practice. The only goal of restorative yoga is deep relaxation. Being rewarded with a gift of grateful acceptance of this body, of this breath. Surrendering to the support. Maybe allowing a little smile to find the corners of your mouth. Finding the bliss of this butterfly. Maybe visualizing those tight, tense muscles, softening, releasing, restoring your mind, your body, breath by breath. Restorative yoga is just that balm for the body and the mind, soothing, healing, just being, nothing to do, nowhere to be. Very slowly, just dismantling your creation. I'm sure your pose will be different than mine. And I'm going to get ready for supported pigeon. So if you normally avoid face down pigeon, maybe give this one a try before you go on the back. So we come into that pigeon pose by taking that right knee to the right hand or the left knee to the left hand, whichever side you prefer. And instead of coming all the way down, we drape the body over a bolster or a firm pillow. Turn the head to one side. Now, if you usually avoid face down pigeon because of any problems in the hips or the knee or the back, this might feel better. If you feel any pain, then do the pigeon on the back where you bend one knee and then you take the ankle over, also known as eye of the needle pose, or thread the needle pose, sorry. So I know that everybody who gets this video is familiar with that pose. So this supported pigeon, obviously we're lifting the floor up a little more so we're not folding too far forward. And in this gentle supported pigeon, what we are doing is finding a soft stretch to the hip rotation. So it's your normal healthy rotation, not too extreme. Sometimes the poses that we move into in yoga move further than our normal range of movement. But this pose, supported pose, keeps us in that normal healthy rotation, supporting the hips, so that we can gently stretch those muscles around the hip flexors, including the piriformis, that muscle deep down in the glute that can become very stiff and tense and sore. And again, if we've got back problems, then holding yourself stiffer and tighter is a natural reaction. And what this does is make those muscles even stiffer, even tighter. So the body is doing this to protect itself. But what we want to do now in this restorative yoga sequence is just offer that body support to know that it's okay now to let go a little. So use your next out breath to release those muscles just a little more than you have done before. Each exhale, an invitation to the body to surrender, to soften into the support. And just breathe. Finding your rhythm, an even, smooth rhythm. The head level with the heart here. Very slowly, on an inhale, just find the body lifting and then just easing onto the other side, very slowly, no rush. We're here for a little while, and as we're doing both sides, maybe now just observing those differences, just allowing the body to surrender into the support, remembering if you feel any pain, any discomfort, then always leaving the pose slowly, mindfully, and just resting in a position that allows you to relax and seek that state of peaceful contemplation and well-being. A place where no demands are on you, mentally, physically, emotionally. A state that requires some practice to get there. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. The liberation of letting go, of surrender. Maybe seeing if it's possible at this stage of the practice to send some feelings of bliss to your back. Inviting your back to relax. Welcoming each breath in with gratitude acceptance. Being grateful for this breath, this body, this moment. Where there's nothing to do, nowhere to be, just here, now, finding the power of now. Breathing in, breathing out. Ever so slowly coming out of the pose. And we're going to stack ourselves up ready for this final pose. So again, we want the block or the book on its long end and a short flat block lower just to support you. And then we're going to shuffle the base of the spine as close to the bolster or the firm pillow that you can. And we're just going to lie down with the legs out straight, but a cushion underneath the knees. If you're lucky enough to have another bolster, then placing the bolster underneath the knees. And this pose is called supported open heart pose. So we want to make sure that the chin's not tucked in too far down or lifting too far up. So the head is supported, the back is supported, the lower body is supported by the floor. You might need to shuffle around a little. And we end on a pose where the head is above the heart. So this is ready to get back to our lives, but not too quickly. We want to settle here for the next few minutes. And the supported heart pose gently opens the chest and the shoulders, those muscles around the heart. All these open heart poses are there in the upper body, all those poses that just find a little space around. We call it opening the heart, but when we get stuck or tense, quite often we become into that protective mode where we naturally turn the body inwards. We try to support ourselves by rounding the back, bringing the shoulders in towards each other in a protective way. But we are gently opening the heart here, and we're allowing those muscles to relax. It's okay now. You are supported. You don't need to protect me for now. I'm here. I'm okay. It also helps to soften the psoas in this pose and the deep hip flexor muscles as well, in a very gentle way. So if you feel this pose is uncomfortable, then maybe come into constructive rest or shavasana. If you can enjoy this pose, you will be rewarded. by that wonderful state of well-being. And let everything just soften and surrender and sink into the support beneath you. Don't rush the breath. Enjoy every second, every moment of each inhale, of each pause, of each exhale. Is it possible to let the smile find its way into the corners of your mouth? Is it possible to relax those muscles of the face, the jaw? Often the muscles around the jaw get tight and tense when we're in pain or fear. Let the muscles of the jaw soften and release. Let the muscles around the eyes soften and release. Allow your mind to soften and release. Maybe visualizing the serene green color of the heart chakra, feeling the compassion for yourself. Very gently rolling over to one side and just taking any props out of the way. And just allowing a comfortable seated position. Big inhale, float the hands over the head to the palms touch. Exhale the hands to the heart center, finding the rhythm and pace of your breath. Namaste. Thank you for joining me.